Welcome back to Frida Sri Lankan Recipes. Today we're making cabbage varai. These are the ingredients. You're going to need half of a cabbage, half of a medium cabbage, thinly sliced or shredded. You can go thinner than this. This is what I did, but you should probably go thinner. This is half a cup to a full cup of desiccated coconuts, 1.5 teaspoons or more if you like of chili powder, half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, more if you like, again, a few dried red chilies, 1 red onion thinly sliced, and a teaspoon and a half of mustard seeds. Add a couple of teaspoons of oil to a saucepan or frying pan. And the first thing you're going to add when the oil is hot is the mustard seeds. As you can see, they'll start popping a little. The volume's not on this, but they'll pop. And you could see the little bubbles coming up off of them. Mix them thoroughly into the oil. Let them all pop. Once all the mustard seeds are coated in the oil and they've all popped, you add the red chilies that you've broken up, and let that also kind of fry in the oil a little bit. Don't put them in too long. Don't put the oil too high. I kept it between high and medium here, the stove, just because you don't want it to burn. And it can quickly happen. It can quickly burn if you don't pay close attention. Next, you will need to add the onions and let the onions get fully covered in the oil and let it saute. You're going to have to kind of switch it around the pan and cook it until it turns a little darker than this color. So it has to come to about a golden brown. So really fry out the onion a little bit. Onion gets like this, you will add all of the cabbage into the pan. This recipe, I don't cover this recipe at all. You shouldn't cover it. You have to kind of sweat it out and sweat the cabbage out in the pan and really just keep cooking it, mix it in thoroughly, and you don't even need to turn the temperature or heat of the stove down at all, but you have to be at the stovetop stirring every minute. Basically, you do have to give a few seconds at a time between the stirs. When you start noticing the green of the cabbage and the whites of the cabbage are getting a little bit translucent or transparent, just keep mixing it thoroughly. And when it starts to get to that color, add the spices and mix that in as well. Continue to mix and cook. You will notice that the cabbage is reducing by a lot, and this is almost half of what it was when I started. At this point, add the salt. Now keep in mind, you don't want to add way too much salt because you can always add salt at the end after you've tasted the recipe. Just put some in at this point. I only put half of what I was using in here. I'm not going to tell you how much salt because, again, salt is something that you have to add to taste depending on how much you want. A lot of people don't use salt at all in any of their recipes, so that's really up to you. You might notice that when I started making this recipe, the cabbage was actually over top of the saucepan edge. It was a lot, and it has reduced to this much where there's even space on the sides. At this point, when it's like this, I add the desiccated coconuts. That's basically just dried coconuts. It comes in a package. You can shred your own coconut and, you know, squeeze out all the milk from it and dry it, or, you know, roast it in the oven, bake it a little bit to get it like this, but that's a process that might even take you a day. So I just went ahead and bought packaged desiccated coconuts, and I added it. At this point you'll smell the coconut heavily, and it has that Raffaello, you know, the chocolate, that smell to it. It doesn't smell like chocolate, it smells like coconut, but it's got a very nice, pungent, sweet smell to it, the recipe. This is the point where you would taste the recipe and see if it needs any more salt. If yes, add some. And there you have it, cabbage or Gova Varai. Try this recipe. If you like it, please do click like and subscribe. Thank you.